Okay, so welcome back to GAA Fan TV. My name is Aaron. I'm here with Daragh Kelly from DKsports.ie and Patrick Sharkey from the GAA Zone podcast. I suppose we're here anyway to preview this weekend's football matches. Three massive provincial finals this weekend. And I suppose we'll start with Donegal and Cavan. And I suppose, Patrick, what are your thoughts going into this? Obviously, Donegal, massive favourites, but I mean, who knows? Cavan, very spirited team at the moment. They keep fighting back from the dead. So this might not be as straightforward as people think.
Yeah, look, they've done it 3 times already in the Ulster Championship. They came back against Monaghan, came back against Antrim, came back against Down. So, they're going to have their opinions, So even if we are winning at halftime, yeah, look, they're still going to be in it. And it's about probably getting enough scores in the first half to make sure that Cavan don't come back. I think that's the thing for Donegal, because it's nearly a given at this stage that Cavan are going to get most of their points in the second half. So it's about getting a good lead in the first half to make sure they don't it's too much for them.
Yeah, I suppose they do kind of tend to build into games quite a lot of the time. But yeah, looking at Donegal, they are overwhelming favourites at the moment. I suppose, Daragh, do you buy into all the hype at the moment around Donegal, especially after that win versus Armagh? A lot of people have them down now as the team to beat the Dubs, but what do you think yourself?
Yeah, you'd have to have them as favourites, and they're probably my favourites after the Dubs go on and win the All Ireland. But we'll talk about Dublin a little bit later now. But you'd have to fancy Donegal as strong favourites. Obviously, they probably had to play better opposition as well. Although Cavan did beat Monaghan, and they've had 2 good comebacks, so the confidence will be high. But yeah, it'll definitely be an interesting game, and I'm sure Donegal will be on their toes. They won't want to have something similar happen to them what happened to Kerry. So I'm sure they'll put it out of sight and they should win. But I'll be rooting for Cavan anyway. So yeah.
Yeah. And I suppose, do you think, Patrick, Cavan have learned anything from last year's final? I know obviously they don't have Keane Mackey or Darragh McVeety or anything like that in there, but do you think they will have learned from last year's final a bit and they might come into this, even Mickey Graham, they might come in a bit more prepared for this year's final?
Yeah, look, the only way they could have learned from us is by playing against us, and they probably know that it's no one-man show. It's not just the Michael Murphy show, so it's probably about they're probably maybe going to get their matchups better. So I think that's going to be the aim for Cavan, and they're probably a little bit of confidence. That Steve McMahon probably won't be playing for Donegal. So yeah, there's still a good bit of hype in Cavan. I think they are going to learn enough from last year, and probably going to put up a better performance from last year. But yeah, I still see ourselves going on to win the game.
And I suppose, do you think there's any way, Daragh, that Cavan can pull off a shock? I suppose after turning things around against Monaghan and then fighting back against Down, and I suppose you alluded to it there as well with Cork beating Kerry. With it being 2020, anything can happen, really.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Anything is possible. Obviously, if we're giving our opinions, we do think probably Donegal will go on and win. But anything is possible. Cavan will be coming into this game with high confidence, after, a good few victories on the bounce. So I'd say they'll give it a good go anyway. But yeah, it could happen. I hope it does. But like I said, probably, Donegal will, of course, probably go on and win it. So yeah, we'll have to see how the match is. It'll be a good game anyway,
And Patrick, do you think if Cavan did have Keane Mackey and Darragh McVeety in there, that they could potentially win this game? Because it's kind of mad. When Keane Mackey retired, I think everyone just thought Cavan are gone, and they went down to Division 3 and everyone just assumed that that's kind of the new normal for them, and then here they are bouncing back in another Ulster final. So do you think if those two players were there that you'd have more worry going into this game?
Look, yeah, the more talent they have, you would have more worry. But Cavan, if they've proved anything over the last 3 games, they've proved that they're more than a few players. One player I've been very impressed by has been Jason McLaughlin, the cornerback. the amount of times, he gets up the field, gets the ball high, and the amount of balls he feeds into the forwards is just unbelievable. And probably, one of the best cornerbacks in the country, without a doubt. So definitely, they're by no means depending on a few players. And if you watch any of their last 3 games, it's always the substitutes seem to be making the difference for them. So I think it's nearly a case that Mickey Graham puts on top players on the bench on purpose, nearly, to see out the game, a bit like what Jim Cavan does with Kevin McManamon. So yeah, I think that's what I think. Yeah, so I'm not saying it's a 2-man show or an 1-man show.
Yeah, I suppose when they brought was it Thomas Gallagher off the bench as well? He tends
a
huge difference for the team as well. I suppose what kind of, can we get some score predictions? We'll go to you, Daragh, first. What do you think is going to happen here?
Oh, it's hard to tell now. What my conditions? Yeah, right. I'll give a margin what I think, because I don't know, will it be a game of goals? We'll have to see. Probably Donegal by 6 or 7 points, I imagine. I don't know. I feel like there could be a bit of a Cavan comeback, but it probably won't be enough. I'd say Donegal are too strong, and they'll look at this match as kind of a warm up, probably going into an All Ireland semi final. So yeah, probably 6 or 7 points. I'd say Donegal should win by.
What about yourself, Patrick? What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be a low scoring game. Simply because I was looking at the Athletics ground. I decided to watch their game against Down last Sunday, and yeah, the Athletics ground in Armagh, the pitch was very mucky. It was not very slippery, not the best conditions. It's giving rain in Armagh this Sunday afternoon. So, unless they change the location, it is going to be a low scoring game. There's no doubt about that. If I'm going to have to go for a Donegal 1, Cavan are going to score more probably than last year. Donegal will probably do the same, which might cancel it out. So 3-point Donegal 1. I think we're gonna get through on it. Yeah, and then.
Yeah, I think it'll be 4
maybe
points.
I was a bit harsh on Cavan.
Yeah, you'll have all the Cavan gurus in the comments now.
I know.
I'll be
you're
supporting Cavan now, but just to be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll depend on the conditions, of course. If it's a wet day, Ulster football, probably will be low scoring, a combination of them both. But yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, for myself personally, I think there's going to be 4 points. That's what I've got here. I actually have a funny feeling as well. Donegal are going to massively underperform in this final as well. I think coming through 2 intense Tyrone Armagh, they might just have a little bit of cold feet. They might just be looking ahead to the Dublin game as well, and they could they could get caught a little bit, I reckon.
Yeah, look, if there's any game I always like to talk about, it's the 2014 Donegal Dublin game. And before that, we beat Armagh by a point. Armagh probably should have beat us that game, and maybe I think it's going to be one of those kind of games where they're really going to put us to 4 and then we're just going to run the show against Dublin. So yeah, that's how it's going to go.
Yeah. I suppose maybe this is the part where
I think you mean Meath.
Dublin have beaten Donegal in the championship every year since. Well, every time they've met since.
Every time we've met it.
Yeah. I suppose going on to Dublin Meath. What are your thoughts going into this, Daragh? I mean, 12 goals in 2 games. I mean, it's impressive enough, but
yeah,
Dublin are obviously a different proposition than Wicklow and Kildare.
Yeah, no, definitely. They kind of came in spurs. The scores, obviously it's great to score 12 games and 2 goals, but Wicklow, I think they were poor. They performed poorly. Kildare as well, I think they collapsed in the second half, but we also kind of came into ourselves and played a bit better. But yeah, I just can't wait to see it, see how much we've progressed, since the last Leinster final meeting, when we didn't really perform at all. So it'll definitely be interesting. I think the lads will give it a good crack anyway, and you never know, especially like I said in 2020. Could be a Meath win, and hopefully it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'd hardly doubt it now, to be honest, but I mean, stranger things have happened. Well, then again, I don't know if they have. I suppose, Patrick, is this the toughest test for Dublin and Leinster in about 8 years, maybe, going back to 2012, 2013? I mean, I was actually looking through some of the scorelines before the video because I actually forgot most of them. But I think 2012, 2013, what do you think?
Yeah, maybe their toughest challenge. I don't know. Did they face the Kildare team of 2011? Because I think that was probably the last second best team in Leinster.
They played Wexford in the final. I don't think they played.
They played Wexford in the final. But yeah, look, but this Meath team, when Daragh said they could, but like that could thing is a very, very slim, and like they got relegated from Division 1. Now, they only lost to Dublin by 4 points and they got the draw against Monaghan. So their post-lockdown form was actually quite good. And, beating Wicklow by scoring about 7 goals against them is good and all the rest. And, goals took them out of jail against Kildare. But, like, this kind of idea of just depending on goals, like, they aren't even getting that much points when you look at it, Meath. And, they have good young teams, and they don't have Mickey Newman anyway, so they're still a little bit under strength. So, 2020 has been a strange year, but if Meath winning Leinster, I think would be a little bit too strange.
Yeah.
You've seen stranger things, all right, but sure.
And what do you think, Daragh? How do Meath hurt Dublin, in your opinion, in this game? Like, what's like when you're looking at it, like what's the weakness in Dublin? Like, how can Meath exploit Dublin? Do you think?
I think
if it is to happen.
Yeah, I think you've even seen it, like glimpses of it in the league meeting. Like, it's just a run off the shoulder, run at players. Like, our forwards are very direct now. We finally have like a really, really good forward line. We have goals in us, which we haven't had for years. So it's great. So I think it's going to be hurting Dublin in that way. But like I said, Dublin played many great teams. They're used to dealing with the pressure of the likes of Meath pressing up on teams, which other counties like Kildare and Wicklow couldn't handle. So yeah, I suppose they're just going to have to go full pelt, and be interesting. Maybe we might sit back. I don't know, but yeah, it's going to have to be goals, I'd imagine, if you do want to beat Dublin. So yeah.
Yeah, and I suppose I was even thinking about it the other day. I was thinking like maybe Andy McEntee's going for this like full goal approach, just for the fact that they clearly aren't getting the points total. But I suppose, like, what would be your predictions? I suppose Patrick will come to you first. What do you reckon? How much are Dublin winning by?
How much are Dublin winning by? I probably have a lucky random number between 10 and 20, and 7 points. Right, I'll go 7 points. It'll be nice to me. 7.1 for Dublin. Yeah. So yeah, I think they just the way. Yeah, even if I have a lot of respect for Andy McEntee and all the rest, like, but.
Clearly not with that prediction.
Dublin are just so far ahead of the rest of Meath. It's, I don't know, like, it's just I can't see Meath giving a proper challenge to Dublin, especially after last year's final.
You don't look too impressed, Daragh. What do you think?
No, well, the last time Meath put 5 goals past the team in the semi-final, they went on to win. And of course, that was the last time Dublin also lost in the Leinster Championship. You know what? I'm actually going to predict the Meath win, because if they do, I'll be able to say I did back them. So I'm going to back my own county. I have to. If this is the furthest we've come, I'll be happy. But yeah, I'm going to go with a Meath win. We'll go with 2 points. I don't think one's enough. 2 points
just to rub it in a bit. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I'd have to, disagree completely with that. Like, don't get me wrong, I do think Meath have improved quite a lot, and I think they're definitely moving in the right direction. But I do think, like, they're not hitting enough points on the board, at all. And then I can imagine Dublin defensively just being, Desi Farrell will definitely go into that game thinking, we need to shore up the defense, shore up the full back line. If we keep the goals out, we'll win this quite comfortably. So I think it would be an 8-point win. But to be honest, it could be 10 plus. It definitely could. It definitely wouldn't surprise me. And I suppose, the only difference really between playing Loud in 2010 is obviously you're playing 5 in a row. But I suppose we'll have to see. I suppose moving on to Cork and Tipp. I mean, this is an interesting one as well, because, like, what do you think, Patrick? Like, do you think these two will be a lot closer than people think?
Yeah, a lot closer than people think. It's like I still think Cork are going to win it. Like, but I'm gonna, I've been saying they're gonna win Munster all year, long before Kerry got knocked out. So like I'm not gonna reverse it, but Tipp of Colin Reardon back, and I still don't know if Mark Keane will be available to them. But like Tipp are gonna give up everything. It's all obviously there's the sentimental sense of it too. That with Bloody Sunday and all the rest, but not that like they actually finished above Cork in 2019 Division 2. Now, they both got relegated, but they still finished above Cork, and the Tipperary even beat Donegal, bear in mind. Now, we didn't have Murphy or McBurdy, but still, they still are capable of putting it up to the big teams, and Quinlan and O'Riordan caused all kinds of trouble to me. And I'm going to make a big statement here about Conor Sweeney. I think he's in the top tier of forwards in the country. Now, you'd put him along with Dean Rock, Michael Murphy, Cathal McShane, and Samuel Roy. So that's where you'd put him up with. So, yeah.
And Jordan Morris.
Jordan Morris.
We're not talking about Meath anymore now. Come on.
But, yeah, so they're going to attack. And Bill Maher, very good halfback. And Colin Musoschi, very good fullback. And I think Evan Comfort is not the Dublin backup keeper. They have their own Evan Comfort down in Tipperary. I think he's the best goalkeeper in Munster. So, yeah, I think, they're going to put a good fight, and yeah. But look, Cork, they beat Kerry and they have a lot of quality. They've probably, on their day, they could beat anyone in the country, as we've seen. And, it's in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and that kind of soft surface ground is going to benefit them to home advantage. So, yeah, look, they're going to come out with all guns blazing, and Hurley is quite good, and there's three others, Sean Potter, good fight back, and yeah, Micheál Martin, very good goalkeeper, and they have a few other good players too. Luke Connolly, if you give him a full 70 minutes, you don't know what kind of magic he could produce.
Yeah, I'd actually probably agree with what you say about Conor Sweeney as well. Like, I do think he's definitely in the top tier in terms of forwards. The only thing I would say though is I don't know if he's consistent enough. I don't know if he does it enough, and I don't know. Like, again, he's in a weaker team, so like
it's hard to judge.
Yeah, would he do it on the big occasion? Like, if he, I don't know, like he played for a Kerry or something.
Yeah.
To be fair, that sideline point in it, like going into injury time, like that takes some amount of bottles. So do you know what? He probably would actually. To be fair, I suppose when you look at the quality of the Tipp team, Daragh, like, do you think that they could cause the upset? Maybe, like, obviously we're talking about Sweeney and Quinlivan, and then I suppose Yaddo Reardon in there now as well.
No, they definitely have the potential to on their day cause Cork some problems, but like Cork are probably favourites for me, after beating Kerry. How could you not say they are favourites to go on and win the Munster final? But of course, a lot will be on the line. Like I said, we commemorating 100 years for Bloody Sunday as well. So that'll be in mind. They'll be wearing the nice jersey too. So I'm sure they'll want to go out and put on a performance, I'm sure that'll be in the back of their minds. If I was a manager, I'm sure that's what I'd be, trying to hype them up and get them ready for the game. But yeah, they could, like I said, Conor Sweeney there, some player, as Michael Quinlivan, they can cause problems. But Cork look pretty good, and on their day, like I said, they're a very strong team. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see that final as well. That should be competitive one, I'd say.
And what do you think, Patrick? Obviously, Cork are playing, like, they played a little defensive, obviously, in that Kerry game. Do you think they'll, operate a bit of a defensive structure in this game as well, or do you think they'll revert back to kind of playing kind of all-out attack like they were kind of in their league game?
It's hard to judge, maybe like, but considering, they don't see Tipperary as the same threat, they're not good for one, like, but Quinlivan and Conor Sweeney, now they probably aren't as good as David Clifford and Sean O'Shea, but they're definitely not far behind, so yeah, look, I'm not for what the threat, and it depends. The weather conditions will always have a bearing on it too, but I think they're going to be a little bit more attacking. I don't think they're going to completely change their structure, but I think they're going to go more attacking, but still a bit of a defensive backbone to them.
Yeah, like, it's like, I suppose I'll give my prediction first of all here. Like, I think this is going to go to extra time, and I think Cork are gonna win it by 2, but I think it's going to go to extra time. I have a sneaky feeling like Tipp are going to they're going to really like, the only problem with Tipperary I find is, like, they just like their big players don't show up enough in in these kind of type of big games. But I have a funny feeling they will here with the year that's in it. I suppose, Daragh, what do you think yourself?
Yeah. Like I said, it's probably gonna be a tight game, tighter than the other finals. Like I said, I'm gonna go with Cork on this, but Tipp could cause an upset. They could easily win if their players perform, their big players, which they'll need to. And they'll also be the only county left with 2 teams in the championship, so the hurlers and footballers as well. So looking forward to that, but probably gonna go with Cork as well.
What about yourself, Patrick? What do you think?
Yeah, 2.1 for Cork. I don't know I'm not too sure about the extra time thing. There's been a few games in the last few weeks they've almost been teasing us of going into penalties, but never actually have.
Yeah.
but I think they have enough maybe to pull through in the last 10 minutes or so to avoid going into extra time, and I think they're gonna have enough to make their way to the semi-final, against Mayo.
Yeah, like to be honest, what's probably going to end up happening? Dublin are probably going to play Mayo, and that's going to be the first penalty shootout. Like Mayo will play Dublin completely off the park. Dublin will somehow bring it to penalties and win it. I can see it happening. I'm gonna say that now. But yeah, look, we'll go ahead and wrap this up here anyway. Cheers, lads, for coming on.
Yeah, thank you very much, Aaron.
For having me.